Thank you for joining me another week, everybody. In a recent video, you saw me disking a field, and today we're going to be planting that field. We're going to be using our little John Deere Model M and an older planter to put some oats in the ground. So, should be a pretty fun video. Nice morning, fun way to start the day. Here's the little M. This is what we're going to be using. I'm guessing we got to put a battery in it. Yeah, battery's out of it. So we'll throw that in. Check oil. We'll probably do that right now. Look at that. Can you see that? Exactly on the money. And then we'll put some fuel in it and get this started and go hook it up to the drill. This is the drill that we're going to be using. You've seen this probably in an older video a couple years back when we planted that field right there, actually. It did pretty good, as you can see. But here's your main seed boxes. And here is your alfalfa box. But we're not going to be using that today. We're just going to be using this. We're going to be planting oats. So the way that this works is as the drill runs along the ground, this model, the wheels power these. It almost looks like a gear, but what this is like a seed feeder, and this allows seed to go out of the box down into these tubes and down into the ground. And you control how much seed goes in with this lever right here. And if you move it to the left or the right, it changes how much of this gear, I'm going to call it a gear, how much of this gear is exposed, and it's how much seed is allowed to be introduced into this tube. So it's pretty simple, not very difficult. And then this right here, pounds per acre, this is your gauge. And if we're going to be planting oats today, right here, we want about 100 pounds per acre. So we go into this row right here, pounds per acre, oats. And so we want to put this probably right about there, 100 pounds per acre. Let's see how wide this drill is. We'll just go right here, even though that's going to be a little bit wide. Looks like it's probably an 8-foot wide drill. You can see right there. So at 8 feet wide, it'll take quite a while to get everything planted. But we've looked around on this looking for some sort of ID tag, and can't find anything. If you know what model of drill this is, drop it in the comments down below, because it'd be kind of nice to know that. Well, it started up okay. Took a minute. It's been a while since we started this, but there it is. Let's let that warm up for a minute. We got to put some fuel in it. I'll take a second to talk about so this hitch that's on this M, this is not what would typically come on an M. What they had is they had a kind of a rudimentary 3-point hitch, almost like a 2-point hitch that kind of came down with a big crossbar that had like a hitch down here. Not very common across implements and things, and we just wanted a normal drawbar. And so what we did is on these housings, we welded these big pieces of angle on either side, and then across that we just put these crossbars, and this is just a hitch off of the bottom of a John Deere A. And so now we have basically an A drawbar on this little M, and then we were also just able to put a normal 3-point hitch. These are just lift arms from a Ford 8N that we just bought for real cheap, and it does an okay job. We use it for planting corn and things like that. So anyway, let's let this go. Oh, are we leaking some fuel? We are leaking fuel. I'll tighten those up. Okay, we're all hooked up. I threw some fuel in it, and now it's just going to be kind of a long trip up there to the field. Here we go, up across the river. We'll see how it does going up this little hill. It's not like the M is a powerhouse. We made it. Okay, here's this hill. This is the hill I always do the testing on. We'll see how it does. Give it some throttle. Oh, I don't know if it's gonna make it. Nope. It got a downshift. We'll just go in a second. The little M didn't have it in it. Okay, as we crest this hill, you'll probably recognize from the last video, or I don't know if it was the very last video, but one of the recent videos. So there's the field that we disked half of it in the dark a couple of days ago. We're gonna go start over there in that northeast corner. We gotta move the wheel line and make a pass along that north fence. We'll put the wheel line back, and then just continue back and forth, east and west, across the whole field. It's about 15 acres. So my dad's down there, he just got the wheel line started. Now he's gonna drive it forward. And the whole thing will just roll, because that pipe is also basically the axle. Oh, so here it goes. So, you can see that the whole wheel line just rolls forward. When he irrigates, he does 3 revolutions of the wheels, is how far it moves at a time. And that way you just get a little bit of overlap from the rainbirds right here. See? And they've got weights on the bottom of them, so they just always stay upright. So anyway, This is an old school wheel line. Nothing like the fancy pivots. Okay. Okay, we are all full. That's 300 pounds of seed. We're planting, like I said, about 100 pounds an acre. We actually reduced it down a little bit less than 100 pounds just so that we make sure we have enough. Close these up. Now we'll lower this in the ground. Going in third gear. It's probably going to grind. There we go. Right about there. So I just want to keep my front tire probably 12 inches away from the tire track that you can see there. And if I do that, it gives me just about the right amount of overlap with that back tire that you can see there. Brake as sharp as we can, and then go back. Okay, we actually need to check seed levels. Let's put it, idle it down. Okay. Should be ready to reload. Oh yeah. Not out, but it's definitely time. And there's where my dad dropped. There's where my dad dropped the seed. So I'll just grab a couple of bags, carry them over, refill, and then we'll be on our way. Okay, I just put in 4 more bags, so that's 200 more pounds. And so that means in 200 pounds we planted from here over to there. So probably doing right about what we're supposed to at just under 100 pounds. You can't see that. at just under 100 pounds. So that's 77, that's 100. So we're at about 83-ish pounds per acre. Okay, let's keep going.
Well, we're probably coming up on almost halfway done with the field. I've had to fill up with seed a couple of times. We actually had to reduce the amount of seed that we were putting down just to make sure that we have enough. My dad might go and buy a little bit more, but little M seems to be doing just fine. We're running in third gear, and we're running right about 200 degrees. It's higher than I thought we would have been, but it seems to be holding steady, so I think it's okay.
You see those two big cranes flying right over there? I'll just try to zoom in on them. Anyway, let's see how much seed I have. Oh, we've got tons of seed. See, we cut this back. We were up here right at about 85-ish pounds per acre, and we started to get worried that we were running low. This side seems to drain faster than this side, so I might bump this one up. Yeah, well, no, it's higher, but it's emptying at the same rate. Okay, that's all of our seed. But the hoppers are completely full and we've only got about 3 or 4 acres left, so I think we'll be pretty good. back in third gear. It's probably going to grind a little bit. Not too bad. Okay. And we're off.
So the reason we're planting oats instead of grass and alfalfa like what we normally have is because we're planting it here in the spring. If we planted grass and alfalfa, we wouldn't get a cut on it. But this way, the oats will come up. We'll be able to cut that and bale it, and we'll sell it. We will sell it to one of the neighbors. There's a vet who has a bunch of horses, and he likes to feed his horses oat hay. Gotta flip around here. Sorry. So another reason why we're planting oats is because this field has a really bad gopher problem. And yeah, you can put out gopher bait to take care of the gophers, but another way to get rid of them, and probably a better way to get rid of them, is to till your field. So we plowed it over last fall. We're planting the oats, and then the end of this summer, we will either plow it or disc this over again. And 2 back-to-back years of tilling it should do a pretty good job of getting rid of the gophers. So a couple of years back, is kind of before I started doing a whole bunch of YouTube videos, I put out just kind of like a slideshow video showing kind of the overhaul process that we took for this M, because it runs really well. But when we got it, it was in pieces. You should go watch that video, but if, likely most people aren't going to go watch that video. But in case you don't go watch the video, I'll just tell you a little bit about it here. My dad's neighbor, they were cleaning up their property, and this was just sitting out in the weeds. There was no head on the tractor. The pistons had been removed. It was basically just a block and the crankshaft. And we ended up buying a disassembled M engine that someone was parting out. We just basically bought all of the parts for that. He's a guy back in California. And, oh boy. And basically we just reassembled his parts engine, put it together, and it started right up and it's run beautifully. So, if you want, go watch that video. It's kind of interesting. It's not really long. But that's the story of how we got our M.
Okay, I just finished off this end right here, and we are so close to being out of seed. I've just got to go up there. We probably should have one more. We probably do need one more bag, but I'm just going to go up there and do 2 passes up along that fence line, and then we're done. Hopefully this is enough.
Well, my dad's back there just sweeping the seeds into the metering gears, but we just ran out. Probably about 200 or 300 yards short of being finished, but it was just the ends that we were finishing, and so they were already this was kind of like the double pass on that anyway. So we probably could have used another 50-pound bag, but I think that we got it good enough, I think. So thanks so much for watching, you guys, and as always, I'll see you next week with another video.